There we go. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Smart Networker. I'm Dave Rolfe, and today we're going to do an interesting presentation, which really follows the last week's presentation that we did on how to utilize the We Start. Now, in all my experience and everything that I've learned along the way, anytime I went to work somewhere and I was in the marketing or sales department and selling a product, I was always trained on what to do. So this is a training program on what to say. And I think you'll find it very interesting. So here we go. We're going to start the slideshow. And there we go. All right. The idea of building, learning what to say. So first is the definition. It's the word script. And by definition, we want to understand it means something written, a plan of action, a written statement of what you want to communicate to somebody else, specific points to follow in speech or presentation. So this presentation I wrote, it's a script. It's something I'm following. I thought about it. It took me a couple of days to put it together. I wrote it out and then I reviewed it so that it would, give me an outline of what to say or how to say things. So when I first learned this concept of using scripts, it was when I had a job in telemarketing, a federal government oil and gas lease lottery program. And I was hired. I went to school for a week. I learned all about my job, what I did, the company, its track record, the product that was being marketed, all of that good stuff. And then once that was done, the rest of the focus was learning the script. And that was what I used to attract customers or get clients, however you want to look at it. And it's what I would say when I reached someone to talk to. Now, it was here that I really learned to prospect. And this is a word, it's find good candidates for whatever I was involved with, utilizing a pre-planned and written script. Now, it all starts by a similar method that we use today, and I will give you an example shortly, but at first it seemed a bit awkward to follow this script, but it didn't take long for me to know it and easily communicate the message of the script quite naturally. And this method was very similar to what actors do in learning their lines to give their performance. So you can sometimes watch a show, it seems so natural, they seem like they're in character. It seems that, you really feel who they are. And you can also tell when they do it poorly. I look at the English actors versus the American actors, and the English actors are so much better than the American actors that are, whoa, how am I posed? How do I look? All of that kind of stuff. So that kind of a concept. Well, the same thing holds here in what we do. In the beginning, it may not seem to be easy or as easy as you'd like, and you can feel very self-conscious about what you're doing. But with practice, you get real good and you gain confidence. So the operative here is practice, 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 practice. All right, so now there are so many different situations that you can get into, but I found that the key to dealing with any of them is this. First off, know what you want, what you're trying to accomplish, and what you're looking for. This is very, 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 very important. Number two, understand that in the end, it is about what they see and understand and can think with that will result in their action of buying or joining. So it's that beauty's in the eye of the beholder, benefits are in the mind of the beholder, all of those kind of things. So it's the person that you're talking to that's most important here. What you say or what you don't say, they don't know. They've never heard it before. It's brand new to them. So that's what you have to understand. And then number three, know what you represent. In other words, how does it work? What needs to be done? What are all the ins and outs and all of that sort of stuff? And then make sure that you understand any given point before you move to the next point. I mean, this is absolutely critical. I've seen this mistake made many times. So make sure you define the new terms you use. Use pictures, use real objects whenever possible. I remember going to meetings and the guy up at the top would say, yeah, and I use my mag boys, to an audience that, what the hell's a mag boy? So it just doesn't make sense. People don't get it. They don't see it. They don't understand it. So then everything is like a waste of time after that point. Always ask questions and listen to their answers, as these can give you the direction you want to take. And then always check to see that they understand what you're saying, and try to get them to give you examples. And if you're not sure they got it, otherwise your work will be all in vain. So if I'm describing a situation, then at the end of the description, I say, do you understand what I'm talking about? And you can see in their face, or you can see in their expressions or their body language if they got it or if they didn't. They might look at you kind of weird or whatever. So that don't go any faster, go back and clear it up. See, it's not about speed, it's about understanding and doing. All right. So what do you want as a result of doing the activity? So once I had my plan set and saw what I needed to accomplish to get what I needed, then it became a bit easier. So again, it's back to those points, and you can come back and review these, or we'll set up so that you can print out the PDF here. And then from what you've learned thus far, you want a distributor that wants to get a benefit from being involved and then goes to work to get it. I mean, that's the ideal, right? We'll get into what we do with products. They're handled a bit differently. So each and every day when I was doing my day planning, the objective always included finding a distributor that wanted to play. So that was all, I had my board on the wall, the big picture. Here's my map. This is what I have. This is what I need. My focus was I wanted to find that person. So when I walked out of the door, my intention was to find that person. Now then I needed to know a few other things. What was I going to do to accomplish this? I did a presentation the other day and laid out a beautiful plan of what they had to do. And the question they asked, well, how do we do this? Exactly. How do you do it? And I learned it was the activities that I did that became important. And it's always quantity first, quality second. So making calls, make tons of calls, thousands of calls, hundreds of calls, as many calls you can possibly make. Well, who do you make them to? Well, you make them to people that you've got on the list, people that you know, whatever the case may be. Another interesting aspect of that was the drop-bys. That was visiting people I knew at their workplace. This was an interesting approach. You drop by, hey, I was in your neighborhood, I want to see you, blah, blah, blah. And I learned that from the third guy that I brought into the business. That's what we did with him. And oh man, it worked like magic. Talking to people while I was out doing things. Again, this is a huge source of where you can find people to talk to. And again, if you understand beauty's in the eye of the beholder, it's what you say to them that becomes the issue. And where they are, that's our job, is to find them. And we don't know where they are. They could be hiding under a tree, a bush, and wherever, but they're out there. So anywhere you get an opportunity to talk to somebody, you want to talk to them. And you'll see and understand why as this goes down. Doing surveys. This is a very easy way to meet lots of people using a VIA. If you don't understand it, look it up. It's an alternative route to what you're trying to accomplish using a survey. But the content is what is important with doing surveys. Very important. I learned this one in doing the movie industry. And it was fascinating, the results that I got, and it's also part of my training program. Now, number 5, calling people you know or acquaintances and asking for referrals. So a lot of you have been in this business for a long time. You've used your warm market. And so things have changed. People change, circumstances change, life changes, all that kind of stuff goes on. So what I would do is I would call those people back and say, hey, I'm expanding my business again. I'm looking for somebody that needs to make $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Do you know anybody now? That opens the door to a conversation. And this is a key part of what your job is and something that you can do. It's an activity that works, et cetera, et cetera. Cold calling, buying lists and names or emails. I did that many times in my business careers, just calling names on lists. And again, with the right story, the right information, you can get what you want. It's just you have to do an awful lot of it. Social media posts, I've done that to get leads, and we'll hear about that shortly. And then placing ads. in newspapers or papers. I did that to get results, and then planning events and then inviting people to attend. Did that to create. So these are the activities that you want to be doing, and especially if you're, they all depend on where you are at in this process of building your business. Okay. Now, this is what's critical. The whole idea of these activities is to find somebody who wants to play. Now, as you know, 97% of those that join a network marketing business do so through friends or family, period. 97%. So here's the message. So starting out as a new person, then, a well-planned launch strategy is extremely important. If you're a seasoned and your warm market, if you're a seasoned person, your warm market has already been contacted, then you want to look at some of the other activities listed and focus there. And these would be a good group to contact for referrals. Do you know anybody that needs extra cash? Again, this is this. Now, as an example, recently, after 32 years in the business, I wanted to do the new Powerhouse program starting in January. And I didn't have any warm market to call, so I placed an ad on a social media site I'm a member with, and then I got a number of responses, but with the intention to find somebody to play with. And after several interviews, I found one, and you've already heard about her, Janori, and she went silver, created 2 downline silvers, all from her warm market. No cold market, it was all 100% warm market. So the key, again, the key to this was my ability to teach her what she needed to know so she could learn what to say and then attract attention. And that's exactly what happened. Textbook. It was absolutely textbook. I can't tell you, it couldn't have worked any better. Okay. So now the next points to learn and know are, what am I going to say? Now, this one depends on circumstance. And after a while, you'll pretty much know all of them. There aren't that many. This depends on the activity you do and what you're trying to accomplish. Now, here's the most common for a new person. And I'm saying this because most of you have been around for a while, so your objective is really to find a new person to get, because that's how it works, okay? I'm just putting some attention here. But for those that are watching this, this is really critical. So you have a list of people that you've been instructed to create. You want to call them and see if they're interested in either the business or what you're offering or the product, et cetera, et cetera. This is business focused. So we're really looking for the distributor because that's the key guy of this business. So this then brings up a very important point. It's based on what you want, what you need to produce that becomes important here. I mean, this is absolutely critical. So with us, if you're building a business, then you need other distributors that are also building their businesses. And the more, the better off things become. Again, it just makes complete perfect sense here. Therefore, you want to say eventually, or what you want to say eventually needs to focus in this area and direction of asking somebody to join you in this business, because it is something they now see and understand and can give them what they want if they go to work. So let's create an example of what to say. So you're calling a friend. And so I got me there, me as you, use me, whatever, put in your name. So it's, hi, Bob, Dave here. How are you today? Social chit chat. Great, thanks. How about you? It's been a while. Me, yes, I know, far too long. How's the family? Bob, well, doing well. Betty's in grade 12, growing up fast, and John's off to college, 2nd year, and I'm still with GE, and Sarah's gone back for her master's. Typical conversation, back and forth. So again, this is somebody it's a friend. It's not nothing engaging. It's just up to date. Well, that's great. Everything's great, going well here. I'm actually looking at changing gears, especially with what's going on in the world today. It's kind of crazy, and I'm getting a bit stale with what I've been doing. See what I underlined? I'm looking at changing gears, especially with what's going on in the world today. If he's listening to me, that's gonna register with him. And then this is the first opportunity to open the door, and you'll see what happens as we progress here. So Bob, well, what are you doing these days? And now this is exactly what I want. I want somebody to ask me what I want to do. So that gives me the opportunity about Nika. So what I want and what I'm looking for is someone to ask me what I do and then tell them, and here's that script. So me, yeah, I'm changing careers and directions and getting into the distribution business. Now, I know that may sound odd, but after doing my homework, it's really quite simple. And when you think about it, like Amazon, the marketplace is huge. And really, that's all everyone does is buy things they need. So I get to work from home, underlined, important. I get to work from home, pushes that button. He gets to hear that, which gives me more time. He gets to hear that with the family. And I really like that idea. And if it will take a bit of time, but at the end goal is I want to retire in the next 5 years, something I want to do. Maybe he does too, who knows? But with a business that continues to perform, kind of like Apple. This is why I was calling you. I think you and I would work real well together, and having somebody to play with makes so much more fun. Let me ask you this. Would you sit down with me and allow me to show you the whole idea? Now, at that point, what I learned in my training was once you ask a closing question, you shut up. You don't say anything. You wait for them to answer. Wait for their answer and then deal with it, whatever it is. So Bob says, well, do I need to make an investment here? We're real tight right now. Me? No, of course not. This is simply information right now. And I would not expect you to do so without being able to get all the information you need. Besides, it's all about lifestyle, wellness, enjoying your family, and doing well financially. Well, what does that represent? That represents our philosophy. Oh, Bob. Oh, I see. Okay. Me. So I know that you're usually free after dinner. How about we get together then and I'll show you everything. I know you'll love this. It's so simple. Bob, that works. Done. 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 Now, if you can do this in person, that would be the best. But if it's on Zoom, fine. Then simply make the Zoom the venue and set the time. So my whole objective is I want him to ask me what I do so I can make my presentation for what I'm trying to accomplish. And in this case, it was to set up a serious meeting, what we call the conversation, which is really what the objective is, to really talk about what it is we do, how it works, all the great benefits. And my objective is I want to find somebody who wants to play. I don't want to find somebody that just wants to sign an application to get the product. That I want somebody who wants to play. It'd be like having a football team and the guy says, yeah, I want to be the quarterback, and he doesn't know how to throw the ball, and he doesn't practice, and he doesn't, that doesn't work. So we got to kind of get the right focus here. So obviously you're already should know what you will do at this meeting, and sometimes it can happen right then on the phone. So be prepared for anything to happen. But here's an important note. You always want to do the presentation in an environment that you control. So sometimes on the phone in this kind of a situation, you can't, because he's at home, he's got kids, he's at, you don't know where he is. So just pay attention to that little detail. So the key to this is this. What are you working to accomplish? What you want to get into a serious conversation. What do you need to know? Well, you need to know what they need or want or desire. You need to show them so they understand and can think with the information and see that they can do this with you. Remember, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Benefits are in the mind of the beholder. You benefit when others do the right activities. Okay, so here's the next situation, a stranger. So you're out on a walk and you run into another walker and the conversation starts. Me. Hey, my name is Dave. Great day for a walk. Stranger. Yeah, hi, I'm Shane. Nice to meet you. Shake hands, whatever, high fives. Me, is this your regular place to do your walk? And saying, no, it was suggested by another friend to come here. It was a really nice experience. Me, yes, I agree on that. I come here every day and it really gets my day going. Note, so you now have started the communication, and what's important to understand here is the situation and circumstance that he is in. What's your objective? What's going on? Could he be interested? What are you trying to accomplish? Get information and another meeting. Do you live near here? Shane, yeah, really close actually. Yeah, me too. My wife and I live a couple of blocks away and have been here for about the past 15 years now. It's a great neighborhood. Shane, do you have kids? Ours go to the smart school. Yeah, mine too. Grades 10 and 12. Ours too. 2 girls and one's off to college next year. Me, understand that for sure. Note. Now here would be a perfect time to ask another key question. Me, so to be out here now, does this mean you work from home? Key question. This is a question to ask, and after he answers, maybe he will ask you what you do, and again, that's your objective. Saying, no, I work for Parker Corp and I'm on an afternoon shift in the security department. It's a bit of a drag sometimes because I miss a lot of kids' activities but it pays the bills. So I underlined those 2 key things and highlighted them because that's what you're listening for, is dissatisfaction, need of change, something that, it's not working quite the way he wants to. Now, what did you hear here? Possibly dissatisfied, which would mean he might be open to what you have. It all depends. If he asked that from me, it was a key point. So I also want to get an idea of what the person I'm speaking with does, because good or bad, this can be very important to what happens next. Right now, you're in the prospecting mode, and by asking questions and listening, which is chapter 5 in the Smart Networker, you can find out everything you want and need to know to get what you want. Okay, so me, got it. I work from home, so I can choose when I come here, and this is key. And again, this is key. Does he ask what you do? And this can go either way, yes or no. So Shane says, so what do you do? Bang! Exactly what you want, the ability to answer the question and steer the conversation and set up the next meeting, the conversation. Or Shane, lucky you. Say, I need to run, but maybe we can meet up tomorrow and do it again. So the second one, he's busy, he's got to go, not the right place or time. Okay, fine. He comes here. And so here's the next key point. Great, Shane. Let's swap numbers and you can text me when you'll be here and if that works. And of course, Shane, absolutely. Exchange numbers. Now you got his phone number, you got a contact, and you keep going. So now you can carry forward the next time you meet. I did this with a boat salesman and sold me a boat at the lake. And after several conversations, I dropped by his place and I asked him after the usual social chit chat, is this something you plan on doing for the rest of your career? And he answered no. And I said, well, I'd love to talk to you about what I do. And then I gave him a quick spiel of my distribution business, and he replied, I'd love to learn. So then I set up a meeting and he came to my home and office and we had the conversation. Now, in the end, it didn't work out for him, but the point is the procedures and what to do and the potential. I got a prospect to come to a meeting. I know that if I do that enough, I will get the distributors I need, and I eventually did and continue to do. It's understanding the concept of the flow of activities and what they can do, and you just increase the number of activities. In my time, I talked to everyone I could, and when someone said yes, then I changed my role to help them. It's a simple process to follow. Here's the last one, doing a survey, talking to complete unknowns. Now, a survey is a great way to talk to people you don't know about an important topic that they could become interested in, whereby you could have further conversations, just like the result of an advertisement. Now, with the survey, you would ask a few questions that you created to create interest in the person you're speaking to. The idea is simple, but very effective. How does it work? Well, let's pick a topic like water. What do we know? Most is not good. Most of the nutrients have been taken out. There are many chemicals, plastics, heavy metals, prescription drugs, residue, and the list goes on and on and on, that these can all harm one. Most people don't know that almost 100% of the population is clinically dehydrated, according to the medical community. Many people buy bottled water, which contributes to pollution. The list can go on and on. What do we have as a solution? The PyMag water system, right? So you create a card with your information and maybe a QR code to order the product. And then you go out and you create a 4 or 5 question survey. At the end, if they seem interested and they want more information, then you hand them your card. I mean, it doesn't get any easier. And let me tell you, it works like magic. So remember that beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So you can run into the entrepreneur type that seems really interested and bang, a new prospect. Now, I did this in 2000. I moved from LA to Boston I was in a stagnant place, and then I saw this ad, and it was the stock market. And I didn't know this person. I contacted them. They gave me a pitch about what they did. I bought their program, and as a result of that, I did very well. So this is your business, and the results you want will come about by doing activities that are known to create results. It's up to you to do them. When you work at this with the intention of making it work, it can work. Remember, it's what you do that is important. And the more you do, the better you get, and the more you create. You never know the circumstance or situations of the person that you're speaking to has or is involved with, or who is trying to get away from, or who needs what you're offering. This is critical information. Learning what to say depends on what you hear after you have asked the question. Probably one of the biggest hurdles is, how do you go from saying hello to talking about what you want to talk about? So keep this in mind. What are you looking for? What do you need to get what you want so you can get what you want? How does it work? That's the business. What do they need or want and have a desire for? Do they understand that so they can think and act? Help them, teach them, and support them. Know that not everyone will play, and that's the job to find those that will. The end. Okay, I'll stop the share and we'll go to Q&A, and I'll stop the recording.